Welcome back, lovely ladies. If you want to become the woman of your dreams, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video. And join our Patreon for even more exclusive content. Now, let's dive into today's story.
Sam stepped off the plane and headed for the rental car counter. He had been looking forward to this trip ever since he found out his company wanted him to attend the security conference. It would be a welcome escape from the office, a chance to get out of town and avoid any chance of colleagues or neighbors seeing him doing what he had planned. He picked up his car, located his hotel on his phone, and drove off to check in. He grabbed his suitcase from the trunk and took the elevator to the 5th floor, checked the room numbers on the wall, and found his room. He swiped his keycard and entered. It was a nice room with a large bed, a decent-sized TV, a spacious bathroom, a coffee maker on the counter, a high shower head that suited him just fine, and even a patio just big enough for a small table and 2 chairs. He hung up the clothes he planned to wear to the conference, set out his bathroom supplies, and put the rest of his things in the small drawers below the TV. He reached into his pocket, checked the money he had, sat down on the bed, and used his phone to search for clothing stores in the area. He found a few possibilities, took a deep breath, and set off. He arrived at the first store, walking through the door with a sense of confidence. It wasn't a place where he'd ever run into someone he knew, or even a store his wife might visit, which meant no salespeople asking her how she liked the things he was purchasing. Even though he doubted they would remember, his paranoia always ran high when it came to his secret. He made his way towards the lingerie section, hoping to find a nightgown and panties. He couldn't help himself from looking over his shoulder, hoping he wasn't attracting attention. The more he tried to remain inconspicuous, the more anxious he became. Finally, he took a deep breath, bit his lip, and started sorting through the nightgowns on the rack. He was disappointed in the selection. He wanted something silky, but all he saw were long cotton nightgowns that reminded him of his grandmother wandering around the house. He looked further and found a white sleeveless cotton nightgown that looked like it would be long enough and short enough. He grabbed it and moved to the table of panties. He knew he couldn't settle for just anything, and after scanning the offerings, he found a silky pair of white bikini panties. With his items in hand, he made his way to the checkout. He tried to drop his items on the counter nonchalantly and pulled out his cash. The woman at the register scanned the codes, took his money, and handed him his change. She bagged his purchase and wished him a good day. Sam dropped the bag into the trunk of his rental car, got behind the wheel, and let out a relieved sigh. Whoa, that was easy. He quickly checked his phone for the location of another clothing store. This time, he parked and walked into the store with a greater sense of comfort, making a beeline for the lingerie section and diving into the nightgowns again. He thought he should have started here. They had a much better selection than the previous store. He considered returning the white cotton nightgown but decided it was too much trouble and decided to keep it. While comparing 2 options, he caught sight of a rack he had missed before. Hanging there was a short pink silk nightgown with darker pink lace trim, absolutely beautiful. He felt the fabric so smooth, so luxurious, and checked the price. The cost would definitely make the purchase a lot more noticeable than the others. He whispered to himself, "So what?" He grabbed it and debated buying some other panties to go with it. He continued strolling through the store, weighing his options. He only had a few dollars left, and since he couldn't use his credit card without his wife questioning the charges, he made a tough decision. There was a faux wrap dress on sale, complete with a fabric belt. He checked it out and decided it would be a little short, but it would work. It would chew up the rest of his money, which meant another pair of panties was out of the question, but it was too good to pass up. He purchased his new clothes and left the store. He made one last stop at a convenience store to pick up a box of donuts. He wasn't a big breakfast eater, but the donuts and a cup of coffee would be a perfect treat, even though the company would pay for his meals. He returned to the parking garage at his hotel, and as he pulled the bags out of the trunk, he found himself debating about walking through the hotel and taking the elevator back to his room. Paranoia was once again rearing its head. He pulled his purchases from one of the plastic bags and consolidated everything into the other bag before dropping the box of donuts on top and grabbing the entire bundle. The double bag made it impossible to see what was inside. Even if the top opened, only his breakfast would be visible. He took a deep breath and headed towards his room. Once in his room, he reflected on his trip back and realized that nobody really paid him any attention. "I really need to chill out sometimes," he said to the empty room, pulling out his new purchases. He folded the panties and nightgowns and placed them in a drawer, hung up his dress among his other clothes, and feeling satisfied, checked the time before deciding to go find some dinner. **2**. His alarm went off early the next morning. He reached over to hit the button to silence it, then turned and sat up on the side of the bed. He grinned as he looked down at the little ruffle on the edge of the white cotton nightgown he wore. He ambled off to the bathroom. He turned on the shower, checked himself out in the mirror, and thought the nightgown looked really nice on him. Long enough, though barely. He turned to look at his backside and realized it wasn't as dense as he had thought. He could see his panties through the material. He peeled off the nightgown and panties and stepped into the shower. After a refreshing shower, he stepped out, dried off, and slipped the panties back on. He stood at the sink, completing his usual morning routine before starting the coffee maker. He turned to the closet and pulled out the dress. He removed the tags and slipped it over his head. Short, very short, but everything was covered. The loose flap on the wrap front helped to camouflage everything underneath. He checked himself out in the mirror, feeling pretty good about the outfit. Since he had no plans to venture out in the dress, its length was not a concern. He finished making his coffee, grabbed a donut, and headed for the sliding door leading to the patio. He stepped out, placing his breakfast on the small table. Holding the dress slightly out of sight, he sat on the chair, enjoying the cool morning air. From his high vantage point, he could see people down below walking and jogging. He doubted that anyone would actually be able to see him, or at least tell he was wearing a dress. He was thrilled. This was amazing. After finishing his coffee and donut, he headed back into the room and changed into his conference attire. He hung the dress back in the closet, placed the nightgown and panty into the drawer, and made his way to the conference. He continued this routine of wearing the silky pink nightgown on Wednesday nights and his dress in the morning before the conference. **3**. One Wednesday evening, one of the product vendors invited several people to dinner. Sam drove to the restaurant, joining a dozen people in the bar area. He talked with several people, but he kept his eye on a particular sales representative, Ayla, a beautiful woman with long black hair, dark eyes, light brown skin, and an enviable figure. She wore a low-cut mini dress that highlighted her shape, complete with thick tights and high-heeled shoes. Other women were present, but they wore slacks and blouses that didn't seem very interesting to Sam. Eventually, the group was escorted to a table for dinner. Conversation flowed easily as they discussed various topics. Sam was really enjoying himself. As dinner wrapped up, the group began to disperse, and Ayla mentioned she was going to call for an Uber. "I have my car," Sam offered. "It's a 4-door, so I can take a few people with me." "That would be great, thanks," Ayla responded. She turned towards her colleagues and asked, "Anyone need a ride back?" "I'll get the car and meet you back here while you all sort things out," Sam told her and headed towards the parking garage. He returned a few minutes later to find 3 men and Ayla waiting for him. "The others managed to get a ride together," Ayla informed him, sliding to the center of the back seat. "I think we can all fit." They got in, filling both sides of the back seat and the front passenger seat. Sam drove them back to the conference hotel. "Thank you, Sam," Ayla told him as the men got out. "We are going to have a drink before we head back to our hotel. Why don't you join us?" Sam watched Ayla as she slid out, preparing to ask about the differences in hotels when she glanced at him in the rearview mirror and noticed he was watching. Not easy to do with any dignity in a dress this short, but you wouldn't understand. Sam's thoughts immediately turned to his own experience with the short dress, sitting out on the patio, and this led to a slight delay in his response. Ayla glanced at him again and her eyes widened. "Oh!" She quickly looked around at the men waiting for her to get out. "I think I'd like to talk to you later." Sam was completely taken aback, just staring at her as she exited the car. She glanced at her dress and then rejoined the men. Sam drove towards the hotel parking garage and found a parking space. As he walked back to the hotel, he wavered between just getting on the elevator and heading to his room, or joining the group at the bar for a nightcap. Ayla had seemed to figure out his secret from his hesitation in responding to her comment about wearing a dress. He knew there would be more to come. Her intention in bringing up his secret wasn't to expose him to the group. He walked towards the elevator and reached for the button, but at the last moment turned and went to the bar. He joined the crowd and someone handed him a drink. The conversation quickly picked up again, flowing easily with all the different people in the room. Ayla didn't seem to pay him any special attention. He relaxed a bit, enjoying the conversations and drinks for another couple of hours. Finally, he decided it was time to head back to his room. He bid everyone good night, thanking them for the dinner and drinks before heading out of the bar. "Sam," Ayla called after him. "I need to ask you something, but I am heading for the bathroom first. Mind if we walk together?" "Oh, no, sure," Sam responded, smiling nervously. "So," Ayla began as they walked along, "I'm guessing that from your reaction in the car, you've probably worn a dress before, right?" Sam could feel his heart racing in his chest, a thin layer of sweat starting to form on his skin. He considered lying to her, saying that he didn't know how to answer her, but instead he simply answered, "Yeah, I have." "That's interesting," she replied. "You are so tall. Do you have trouble finding clothes that fit?" "Yes," Sam admitted. "The waists are usually too high or the dresses are too short." "Usually?" Ayla's eyebrow shot up. "So you've worn more than just a few dresses then? Is this something that you and your wife enjoy?" "No," he blurted out. "She doesn't like that. I have to sneak things in." "I see." She stopped walking near the entrance of the ladies' room. "I bet this would be a perfect opportunity, being away and out of town. Did you bring any special clothes with you?" "No," Sam answered honestly. Ayla raised an eyebrow, so he elaborated. "I bought a dress after I got here and a few other things, but nothing more." "Ah," she said, smiling softly. "I would like to hear more about it. Would you be willing to talk with me about it?" "How?" Sam's voice cracked with worry. "I don't want anyone else figuring this out. What if someone overhears us?" "Well," she responded, "what is your schedule like tomorrow morning? Maybe you could miss a few sessions. I have plans this evening, and we're all checking out on Friday, so there won't be any good opportunities to talk then." "Yeah," he agreed. "I could be free from 10 a.m. until after lunch." "That sounds perfect," she beamed. She proceeded to give him the name of her hotel and her room number. "Bring your things with you. I'd like to see you dressed up." She turned and went into the ladies' room. Sam stumbled toward the elevator and made his way to his room, feeling like he had made a terrible mistake. Why had he agreed to this? Why is she asking him to do this? He was happily married, despite the secret he kept hidden. Even though she was very beautiful, he wouldn't betray his wife. He undressed, got into bed, and decided he was in no mood for either of his nightgowns tonight. **4***. After the morning session, Sam returned to his hotel room. He emptied the bags and carefully folded his dress and panties, placing them in a small conference tote. He made his way to the parking garage, attempting to move as casually as possible. He arrived at the hotel Ayla had mentioned, went up to the 3rd floor, and walked down the hallway to her room. He knocked softly on the door. Ayla opened the door. "Ah, Sam, come on in." She smiled warmly as she walked back into the room, finishing with a last earring adjustment as she went. "I take it you brought the dress?" Sam nodded. "Why don't you go into the bathroom and change?" "Why are you doing this?" Sam asked, not moving from the doorway. "We'll talk about that when you have changed. Now go. We don't have all day," she said, gesturing to the bathroom. Sam went into the bathroom and closed the door. He took a look around. The counter had the typical assortment of toiletries that you'd find in a woman's bathroom. Toothbrush, makeup, hairdryer, all there. He sighed and stripped down, slipping on the panty and dress. He tied the belt and checked to make sure everything was in its place. He opened the door slightly, taking a quick peek out before leaving the bathroom. "Relax," Ayla called out. "It is just us. I have no intention of telling anyone else about this, but come on, I want to see you." Sam stepped out of the bathroom. He saw Ayla standing near the sliding door that led out to the patio. She looked him up and down with a faint smile on her lips. Okay, do you mind if we sit on the patio? I think it is too stuffy in here and I don't want to sit on the bed. No, Sam replied, his voice barely audible. He walked over to the patio door, stepping onto the patio. This one was a lot lower than the one in his room, but it seemed to be stable enough. Besides, he was already being seen by someone he had never planned on, so the height of the patio didn't really matter at this point. He sat down in one of the chairs and clutched his dress in front of him, feeling the chill of the metal chair against his thigh and acutely aware that the dress offered little protection underneath. First of all, Ayla started, I think you look cute. You've got nice legs. Do you shave them? No, Sam answered, feeling a little more relaxed now. I'm lucky that I don't have a lot of hair there. Like I said, my wife doesn't like this side of me. Shaving anything besides my face is something she would question. Fair enough, she said, turning to admire the view. Tell me, why do you do this? Why wear dresses? Sam let out a slow sigh. I guess because I like it. When I was 13, I started going through my mother's things, trying things on. I loved how the clothes felt, the textures, the fit, the way a dress felt. Fair enough, she answered again. Can I ask you some questions? Sam turned slightly toward her, holding his dress carefully to keep it from riding up. Why do you wear those tights so much? Well, she stretched out one leg. When I'm working the booth, I have to bend over a lot. These are thick enough that if something happens, nobody sees anything they shouldn't. I thought you might have realized that when I was getting out of the car last night. I only saw your face in the mirror, he explained. I didn't even notice that. Oh, Ayla chuckled. I thought you might have been trying to get a peek up my dress, so I decided to call you out on it. I wasn't, Sam shook his head. And I didn't realize you were calling me out. I just thought you were being funny. But then you said it, and all I could picture was myself in this dress, and it took me too long to answer. It wasn't just about how quickly you answered, Ayla said. You blushed just a little, and you didn't look away. If you had been embarrassed, you might have blushed, but you would have averted your eyes. I see, Sam said quietly. He tugged nervously at the edge of his skirt. Sam, I like you, Ayla said. I was curious about what you would look like in a dress, but I am sorry if I frightened you. It's okay, Sam replied. Now that I'm getting over the initial panic, I enjoy being able to sit here and talk to you like this. Do you wear panties? Ayla asked. Sam coughed. What? Ayla laughed. I'm still curious. I was just wondering if you wear them under dresses, or maybe you always wear them, or maybe you never wear them at all. Yes, fine, Sam answered, a little frustrated. What about you? Do you wear panties? Or are the tights enough? Ayla laughed. I suppose if I am going to ask personal questions, I should expect you to do the same. Yes, I wear panties, though there isn't much material there. I like wearing thongs with tights, and I am not going to ask you to show me yours, and I won't be showing you mine. Sam laughed. Mine are bikini style. I tried a thong once, but I didn't like it. Mine are white. They came with a cotton nightgown I bought this week. I also found a pink silk nightie. I would have gotten more panties, but I ran out of money and I didn't want to use a credit card because it might raise questions. My. Ayla turned slightly to face him. Very interesting. Have you been sleeping in your nightgowns? Do you wear the panties with them or just the nightgowns? I didn't last night, Sam explained, but I did the other nights. I was afraid of what today would bring. I wasn't in the mood. Yes, I wore the panties too. There wasn't anything hanging in the bathroom when I was in there. What about you? What do you wear to bed? I put it away before you arrived, Ayla confided. I wasn't sure what things were going to be like today, but I really have enjoyed this. She got up and walked around Sam, heading back inside. He heard a drawer open and close. I believe in treating myself well. As one should, Sam answered, trying not to be nervous. Ayla returned to her seat on the patio. What are you going to do with your clothes tomorrow when you return home? Throw them out? Donate them? Actually, I plan on keeping them, Sam said. I have a hiding spot at home. I was a little concerned about putting any clothes in my suitcase, but I really love the things I got. I'll pack them just like everything else and hope I can put them away before my wife sees them. Doesn't that bother you? Ayla asked, having to hide it all from her, lying to her. Sam winced a bit. Yes, he confessed. I wish I didn't have to. The lying. I don't consider it lying as much as omission. She never asks, and I never tell. Before I started buying things for myself, I would find things of hers to wear when she was gone. I think she knew. Whenever she had a bag for donations, the clothes I liked the best always seemed to end up in the bag. At least now I can keep the clothes I love the best. I see. Ayla nodded slowly. Sam, I really enjoyed this conversation. I wish we had had this talk earlier in the week so we could continue. But it is getting time to go back to the conference. Why don't you change? And if you don't mind giving me a ride back to the hotel. No, of course I don't mind, Sam answered. He stood up and pulled down on his skirt, making sure it was all in place. I'm glad you found me today. It's been really nice being able to talk about this, and thank you for being so open with me. I really appreciate it. I promise I won't be peeking up your dress next time. Wouldn't matter anyway. He winked. Ayla laughed. He went back into the hotel room, entered the bathroom, and changed back into his regular clothes. He folded his dress and panties and tucked them back into his conference tote. He joined Ayla again in the hallway. Sam, she grinned, I'd like you to have these. She held up a pink bikini panty with white lace detailing. It goes with the nightie you mentioned. I will think about you and this day and wonder. Are you sure? Sam's hand trembled as he accepted the gift. They are really pretty. Yes, she beamed. I hate to think of you having to wear the same panty every day. I'll probably wear them tonight. He folded the panties and placed them in his bag. Thank you. They walked together to Sam's car. Before leaving the parking lot, Ayla turned toward Sam. I'd really like to do this again, she confided. Maybe next time we are both at a conference, we could meet up and have some extra time. We don't have to talk about clothes or our marriages, and I understand that you are faithful, so this is not a come-on. I just enjoyed talking with you. Sam pondered her words. Actually, I'd like that too. **5***. Sam came out of the bathroom and walked out to the patio, wearing a black and white dress with a full skirt that came to just above his knees. 2 glasses of wine sat on the small table. Ayla was sitting in one of the chairs, enjoying the evening. Sam carefully adjusted his skirt as he took the other seat. I like that dress, Ayla complimented him. That dress last year was way too short for you to be comfortable sitting in. Yes, Sam laughed, but I never expected anyone to see me in it. It was a real luxury being able to sit on the patio in my hotel room while eating my breakfast. Since I knew I'd be spending some time with you, I thought I'd find a dress a bit longer that I could feel good about. Did you buy it here or did you bring it with you? She sipped her wine. I bought it here, he answered. I've been enjoying my shopping adventures. Last year was my first time doing this. This year I've been feeling a lot more confident. I think I might enjoy that kind of trip too, Ayla nodded. Maybe next time. You seem to have such a good time doing it. It would be a lot of fun, especially if we could look for things together. Sam sipped his own wine. I really like that dress you're wearing. I love that you're not wearing tights tonight. It looks wonderful on you. But can I ask something? Do you always wear such low-cut tops? Ayla glanced down at the low neckline. Mostly, yes. I've been lucky enough to be blessed with good assets. I don't mind letting them show off. It can't hurt being in sales either. I'm sure it attracts the kind of customers who need to buy something. Fair enough. Sam nodded and stared out at the stars. Now I have a question for you. Ayla turned to look at him directly. Do you still have the panties I gave you last year? Absolutely. Sam smiled as he returned her gaze. Actually, I brought both those and the pink nightgown with me. I plan on wearing them to bed tonight. I'm not wearing them now. The pink would show through the white. I might have liked to see that, Ayla teased. After last year, I've had time to think about some of my other questions. You know, you don't always have to match your underwear to the rest of your clothing, right? You were concerned about needing pink panties for the pink nightgown and white for the white nightie. I know. Sam adjusted his dress. I guess I just feel more complete when things match. I don't mind about it for nightgowns, but with this dress, something brightly colored or even black would show through the white, and it makes me nervous. And I've thought a lot about our conversation last time, too. I've been wondering what you're like outside the sales booth. Even tonight, with that dress, you have a low neckline. Do you like wearing dresses all the time? Are you only drawn to these styles? When I'm not working, at home, or just out and about, I wear slacks, shorts, yoga pants. Ayla explained. I always like to give myself a little extra exposure, so I usually end up cutting down the front of my sweatshirts. When I'm out for myself, I'll wear dresses a lot. Most are short like this. I do have a long formal dress for special occasions, but even my other long dresses are pretty short. What about you? I've seen really short and knee length. What styles do you prefer? What would you wear if you didn't have to hide from everyone? Oh, gee, Sam thought for a moment. When I was younger, my mother had a few long dresses that I loved to wear. 2 of them were casual dressy and 1 was extremely dressy. After that, I started favoring shorter dresses. I really prefer full skirts, I think. If I were free to wear what I wanted, it would all depend on the occasion, I think. But the material is so important for me. This dress, for instance. I think it's rayon or maybe polyester or a blend, I'm not sure. But the feel is so important. Not that different from me, Ayla agreed, until I figured out what style was truly mine. Some women are like you. Different things for different times, while others stick to their one preferred style. Do you ever wear stockings? Or wear a bra? I started out wearing pantyhose with all my dresses. Sam smiled, reminiscing. I just loved how my legs felt in them and how they looked. After that, I started experimenting with stockings. They really feel great and they keep the feeling of the skirt at the top. But they don't stay up very well, and I haven't ever had the nerve to buy a garter belt for myself. Not even here where nobody knows you? Ayla said, a little shocked. If I had one with me, I'd gladly lend it to you, but I'm sure it wouldn't fit. I think that dress would look amazing with some sheer black stockings. Well, I just haven't thought about it, Sam shrugged. Plus, I pay cash for my purchases because I don't want them showing up on our card. I usually don't have much cash on me, so a dress is usually the limit. I mean, you'd think finding something like a garter belt would be easy. You see lots of leggings and tights, but pantyhose and stockings, it seems you really have to go out of your way. You just have to find the right stores, Ayla said. What about bras? I wear a bra once in a while because I want to see how the dress is meant to fit and show curves, he admitted. Another strange thing is that I think if something happens to me, my wife might go through my things, so I want to avoid having too much in my hidden collection. It seems crazy, but I don't want to leave her with a ton of my dresses, nightgowns, and panties. It won't seem so bad if there are no bras or shoes or garter belts or hosiery. Crazy, right? I'll give you that, Ayla chuckled. That is kind of weird. What do you picture her saying? Sam, I found your collection. I'm so glad there were no bras in there. She laughed and Sam joined in. Anyway, I don't want to just sit here talking about this all night. What kind of music do you like? What movies have you seen lately? Tell me about the ones you liked or didn't like. I want to chat as friends. They settled back into a relaxed conversation as they finished their bottle of wine. The hours slipped by quickly, until Sam realized it was getting quite late and he needed to head back to his room. He thanked them for the wine and the conversation, bid everyone a good night, and left the bar. Once he got back to his hotel room, he slipped into his pink panty, the pink nightgown with dark pink lace trim, and got into bed. As he settled down, he recalled what Ayla had said and wondered if she might like the sight of him slipping into the nightgown with her gift panty. **6***. Sam walked to the hotel room door, knocked softly and waited. The door opened and Ayla greeted him with a bright smile. "Hi, Sam." She turned to walk back into the room while fastening an earring. "I'm almost ready." Sam stepped just inside the doorway and waited. He watched as she stood at the mirror, adjusting her dress, tugging at her neckline to ensure that her bra wasn't showing while the cleavage did. She finally picked up her purse and came over to join Sam. "Where are we shopping today?" she asked, smiling playfully. "Not entirely sure," Sam answered as he checked to make sure the door was shut and locked. "Are you shopping for anything special this time? Or just an afternoon outing?" "Maybe," Ayla answered. "Depends on what stores we go to this time. I might see something I just can't resist. And besides, I love spending time with you. These past couple of years have been a real blast, going on these shopping adventures with you." "To think," Sam said, "it all started with you thinking I was trying to get a good look at you in your dress, and led to this great friendship." "It's a lot of fun to be able to talk with someone where we can talk openly about almost anything," Ayla said. "And it feels good to feel comfortable enough to be honest about these things. Where are we heading today?" "I found a big outlet center nearby. Sam answered. "I thought we could find some nice things there, and just to be honest with you, I do enjoy shopping with you. It's amazing being able to share this part of me with someone." "I am really happy you are able to share that too," Ayla replied, "and I am happy not to have to try to force a conversation about anything else. My, it looks like there are a lot of shops here. Let's check it out." They stepped out of the car and went into the closest shop. They strolled through one store after another, looking at dresses, nightgowns, shoes, and lingerie. They talked about all kinds of things. It was a day of exploration, not just of clothes, but of each other's hearts and minds. As they browsed a lingerie store, Ayla nudged Sam playfully. "I think you really need to buy this bustier and get yourself a matching panty and some stockings. It's begging to be in your collection." "You know that would be a major hit to my pocketbook," he complained. "Don't worry," Ayla said with a smile. "I'll get myself one too, and I think I'm going to buy us both a dress. Then on the way back to the hotel, we'll get pizza and wine. When we get back to the hotel, we'll both get dressed up, eat pizza, drink wine, and talk until you need to return to your room. Need a new nightgown, Sam?" "No," Sam answered. "I brought a couple with me along with a couple of pairs of panties." "Does one of those panties happen to be pink with white lace?" She grinned playfully. "Yes, one of them does," Sam replied, blushing slightly. They made their way toward the checkout. As they neared the cashier, Ayla paused suddenly. "You said you don't need a nightgown," she said. She reached over and plucked a long black nightgown from the rack, its shimmering fabric catching the light. "But just look at this lace detailing, it's so elegant. I absolutely have to have it." She looked through some of the other gowns and stopped at a pink one that looked almost identical, only it was pink. "And you need this one, another gift. Make it 2 bottles of wine this time." Without waiting for an answer, Ayla walked toward the checkout, making sure he followed. They returned to Sam's car and loaded the shopping bags into the trunk. As they drove back toward the hotel, Ayla spoke. "You said you don't want to wear just the nightgowns, and that's fine. There are lots of reasons. We have a wonderful friendship, but I'm not ready for you to see me in just my underwear, and I really wouldn't like it if you were walking around just in yours. If we went beyond what we have already done, it would feel like I was trying to interfere with your marriage, and that is something that I would never do, no matter how tempting it may be." Sam was taken aback by Ayla's sudden statement. Yes, he had pictured them lounging in their nightgowns at times, especially after buying his little pink nightie and the matching pink panty from Ayla. He'd even entertained the thought that it could work, remaining faithful despite their fantasies. And he'd secretly fantasized about seeing Ayla in a garment like that black nightgown. "You are right, of course. I would like to be able to go that far, but it would feel like pushing things beyond what is reasonable. You know me so well." "I think I do," Ayla answered, nodding thoughtfully. "And your wife knows you better in many ways too, so my intention is to help you keep it that way, at least as far as I am concerned." "Thank you." Sam pulled the car into the parking lot next to a pizza place with a liquor store nearby. "I'll order the pizza and then we can grab some wine. Sounds good?" "That sounds great," Ayla agreed enthusiastically. When they arrived back at the hotel, Sam went into the bathroom and changed clothes. He took his time getting the new lingerie in place, followed by the dress. A dark green knee-length style, full skirt, short sleeves, with enough length that the sheer black stockings he wore did not show. He emerged from the bathroom and saw Ayla pouring the wine. She was dressed in a similar dress, though shorter and with a lower neckline. The sheer black stockings hinted at her matching new lingerie. She held a glass out to him. He grabbed a plate of pizza, and together they took the table to the patio balcony for a long night of food, wine, and laughter. When Sam finally returned to his own room, he pulled the new nightgown over his head, allowing it to slither down his body. It felt perfect over the pink panty. He shivered slightly and ran his hands over his body. "She was right," he said, almost whispering to himself. "I needed this." He slid under the covers of his bed, smiling to himself as he adjusted the straps of his gown, ensuring it was comfortable for sleep. The thought that his friendship with Ayla would endure for years to come floated in his mind, but he couldn't stop thinking about what Ayla might look like slinking into bed wearing her new black nightgown.
Did you like the story? Hit that like button and tell me what you thought in the comments. Do you want to hear more stories? Subscribe and hit the bell. For exclusive content and early access, check out our Patreon. You can find the link in the description, or you can watch any of the videos shown on my right. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.